right. I now call this meeting of the Bloomington Planning Commission to order. Due to COVID-19 social distancing considerations, this meeting is being held virtually. Those wishing to testify or comment remotely regarding a public hearing need to register at least 15 minutes prior to a meeting. At this time, can we please do a roll call?
Mr. Stanzik?
Here.
Mr. Dannenberger?
Here.
Mr. Boyd?
Here.
Mr. Muehlek?
Here.
Mr. Krieger?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Ms. Montney?
Here.
Ms. McCann?
Here.
And Chairperson Hayden.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, we would move to item 3 on our agenda, which is public comment. We do not have anyone registered, so we are going to move on to item 4, which is a review of the minutes of the January 13th meeting. Does anyone have any additions or corrections to those minutes? If not, can I get a motion?
Move the minutes be approved.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Stanzik?
Yes.
Mr. Dannenberger?
Yes.
Mr. Boyd?
Yes.
Mr. Muehlek?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Montney?
Yes.
Ms. McCann?
Yes.
And Ms. Chairperson Hayden.
Yes. All right, minutes are approved. We'll go to item 5 on the agenda, which is our regular agenda item Z-02-21, which is a consideration of a rezone of 101 to 103 Donnie Drive from B1 general commercial to R3B multifamily. So at this time, we'll hear a presentation from staff.
Sorry, took a second to figure out how to unmute myself. Okay, so as was just stated, this is a zoning map amendment request requesting rezoning of the subject property from B1 general commercial to R3B multifamily residential district, and staff is recommending in favor of the request. So for context, the subject parcel in question is part of the Oak Creek Crossing Apartments located off of Veterans Parkway and Main Street. It accounts for about 2 acres, a little shy of that. It's also the only part of the complex, as you can see in the zoning map, that is zoned B1 rather than R3B. So the rezoning would make it consistent with the rest of the apartment complex. To the north, I believe there's a vacant commercial property, and then further north, there's a golf course. To the immediate south, there is a diner, as well as additional commercial properties and some offices. To the west, there's the rest of the apartment complex, as well as other residential developments, including mixed residential, single family housing, and a mobile home park. And then to the east, there is another mobile home park and what I believe is State Farm Park, is that commercial zoning there. So here are some site photos of the subject parcel as seen from South Main Street on Google Street View. You can see the diner there, and there's screening provided between the diner and the apartment complex. So as to the district purposes, B1 doesn't allow for any kind of residential development by right. This complex has been here since 2003, so it's considered existing non-conforming. R3B multifamily residence district is, I believe, allows for the highest density of the residential zoning districts. It allows for a variety of housing types and for up to 70 dwelling units per acre. And according to the comprehensive plan's future land use map. The area over here is classified as a mix of low or medium and high density residential. And it doesn't have any particular classification as to the land use priorities map, but it does meet a couple of the goals of the comprehensive plan, including ensuring the availability of safe, attractive, and high quality housing, and ensuring an adequate supply of affordable housing for low to moderate income households. As to the findings of fact, just as a reminder, not all of the standards need to be met. It just needs to be established that the adoption of the amendment would be in the public interest and not just in the applicant's interest. With that said, we found that almost all of the standards are met, with the exception of number 2, which is regarding the length of time the property has been vacant as zoned. The property has been improved with and used for multifamily since 2003. But in general, as to the other findings of fact, the R3B zoning would be consistent not only with the rest of the apartment complex, but with the surrounding zoning, with the residential developments to the west. It would also allow under the current zoning as an existing non-conforming use that limits the degree to which the structures can be repaired or altered. So in the event that any of the 7 multifamily structures on the subject lot were to be damaged, they could not be reestablished, which would pose a hardship both to the applicant and owner and to the residents. And since the property has been in use as a multifamily residential development for so long, the street connectivity as well as service access is pretty well established. And that concludes the staff report. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Caitlin. Any questions for Caitlin? All right, if not, I do believe we have someone here registered to speak on behalf of the petitioner. So I'll open up the public hearing portion of this agenda item. Petitioner, if you would like to unmute yourself and provide any testimony, press *6, and then I will swear you in.
Good evening. This is Mike Goodette, the owner of Bloomington Portfolio. Again, I just registered just in case there are any questions. It does not sound like there are, so I can go back on mute.
Can anyone just raise their hand and indicate if they had any questions for the petitioner? All right, we don't have anyone. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, guys.
All right, then at this time, I will close the public hearing portion of this agenda and open it up for any discussion or motion amongst the commission.
Excuse me, this is George Boyle. I was just wondering, has there been is there anyone speaking against? I don't know if maybe you asked that already and I missed it, but I just wanted to get on the record whether there was anyone else.
Yep, we don't have anyone else registered.
Okay.
Just the petitioner and I believe his attorney. Thank you, George.
Sure. Thank you.
Well, seems pretty non-controversial, like this is spot zoned and this is just doing some cleanup. So if no one has any other dissension or other comments, take a motion. I think we need 2 findings of fact and then the actual approval.
This is Justin. I will motion we approve the findings of fact as presented by staff in our packet. I would second.
All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Stanzik,
Yes.
Mr. Dannenberger,
Yes.
Mr. Boyd,
Yes.
Mr. Mulek,
Yes.
Mr. Krieger,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Ms. Montney,
Yes.
and Ms. Hayden.
Yes. That motion carries, so just need another motion on the actual adoption.
All right, I'll do it. I motion we recommend approval of Z-02-21, review and action on a petition submitted by Michael R. Grott, owner of March 2V Manager LLC and Bloomington Portfolio LLC, requesting a zoning map amendment for a portion of property identified as PIN 21016-126-040 from B1 to R3B.
I will second that.
I want to hear Justin repeat that.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Stanzik,
Yes.
Mr. Dannenberger,
Yes.
Mr. Boyd,
Yes.
Mr. Mulek,
Yes.
Mr. Krieger,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
How can you help but vote for such a thoroughly worded motion? Yes.
Ms. Montney,
Yes.
Ms. Hayden.
Yes.
Carries.
I would just like to point out, I was not called either time on those votes. I still passed anyway, but I just want to point that out.
Oh, sincere apology. Should we revote?
I think we need another motion. Just kidding.
George, can you advise we didn't include Ms. McCann?
Well, why don't we, you could ask her how she would vote. Would have
I vote
voted on
yes
those
for
two. I
both.
wouldn't mind. Okay. I think that's fine
My apologies
to add her to that, to those
You're
roll
added.
calls, Nick.
to both.
That might have been a case of the double Megans being back to back. All right, that concludes our regular agenda item. We do not have anything for 6, old business, nor do we have anything stated on new business. But since we're about to wrap up this meeting in 15 minutes, does anyone want to bust that streak with a walk-on topic?
I'd rather motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.